Today's episode is brought to you by Firmtech.
Folks, I'm sitting down with one of our favorite guests here, Dr. Elliot Justin. He's certified MD, and he's got an awesome piece of tech. And you've probably seen it if you watch more than this episode on the show. It's called the Firmtech Ring. And I like talking about sexual health here because I don't think many podcasts in general, especially ones that are within the veteran space, talk about sexual health. Because for me, this is like the pointy end of the spear, no pun intended, actually total pun intended, of your health. If you have a healthy sex life, it means things are tracking in the right direction. And if you don't have a healthy sex life, like the good doctor will tell us, it's a warning sign for serious health concerns that you need to be aware of. So Doc, Elliot, it's always a pleasure to have you back on the show. Let's get right back into it. I was watching a really interesting talk you did in Finland. It's a biohackers conference. You mentioned a lot of stuff that I just wasn't aware of. And I guess the first thing is, and we can segue into, why you have the Firmtech tech ring and what that is exactly. But this is going to be a bombshell, I think, for most guys. PD5 drugs, so like Cialis, Viagra, are only 20% effective. Why is that? Look, why do we have a drug that, in my opinion, gives you a boner, but it clearly only works 20% of the time? So let's get into it. Let's get right into that topic right away.
All right, guys, we need to talk about your dick. Not in a jokey locker room way, but in a life-saving way. You see, erectile dysfunction isn't just a bedroom issue. It's one of the earliest warning signs of cardiovascular disease. And veterans, we're at a higher risk than civilians. TBIs, stress, meds, pain, poor sleep, you name it. That's where Firmtech comes in. They make the world's first smart erection ring, and it's kind of a game changer. It's called the Tech Ring, and you wear it overnight while you sleep, and it tracks your nocturnal erections. That's right, real data right to your phone. Wondering what meds, supplements, or diet changes actually work? Now you'll actually know, because when you track it, you can hack it. Discreet, easy to use. You can even wear it during sex to enhance your intimate moments with the missus. They call it the dick bit, and yeah, it actually works. In fact, rings are more effective than pills that you'll get from the VA. And Firmtech's Tech Ring, it's research proven, effective, safe, no side effects, just results. So if you're serious about your health and your performance and maybe a few better rolls in the hay, resolve in 2025 to put a ring on it. No shame in that game, sir. Use code DMorrow at checkout for 15% off your first purchase. Link is in the description.
Well, I can tell you, Dave, I almost feel like going to my bathroom and popping into Dallas right now and seeing if I get a hard on. Because it ain't happening. Yeah, I mean, I guess as a
teachable moment. Yeah,
you're a good little guy. You're a good-looking guy, but it ain't happening. Even my wife's in the room too. And that's the power of pharma. So, and advertising, and it's actually a dangerous power. So, this is the most commonly prescribed drug for erectile dysfunction. It's also the most commonly taken drug for recreational sex by men, just to try with notice that they're going to improve their performance. If you go back to the original Viagra papers that were submitted to the FDA for approval back in the 1990s, there were 7 of them. 2 of those papers was no more effective. Viagra was no more effective than placebo. Mm-hmm. The only paper that showed really strong efficacy, 70% of the men responded, was the men who were recovering from prostate surgery. And those men have sustained trauma to their sexual organs that your average guy who has erectile dysfunction has not sustained.
Right.
And that, it's really, flabbergasting. The pills are relatively benign. There are side effects, both headaches and eyes and issues with lowering blood pressure. And overall, if they're taken properly, they're a safe medication. Unfortunately, a lot of guys don't approach them safely. It's like, hey, if one works or if one didn't work, I'll take 2 or I'll take 3. And think about how unscientific it is. So if you have high blood pressure, you don't go to the doctor and say, I feel like I have high blood pressure. My heart pounds when I walk up a flight of steps. The doctor says, oh, Dave, take this pill, come back in 3 months. See ya. No, you would think, what the fuck, doc? You got a blood pressure cuff in the office? You have an electrocardiogram machine? You're going to check my liver proteins? And that's how we're treating erectile dysfunction with men. We doctors are doing a disservice to men. We're treating men with pills and without asking them about what is really going on. When do you have erectile dysfunction? So the most important question to ask yourself, or as a man, and your doctor's not going to ask this question because it's not electronic health record, is my problem that I can't attain an erection or that I can't sustain an erection? If a guy can't attain an erection with some regularity, not like, hey, I met some woman, I couldn't get it up. I mean, if this is a regular problem, you can't attain an erection, you got a big problem probably. You probably have significant cardiovascular disease and or diabetes or some neurological problem that's affecting you. But most men's problem is not that. Most men's problem is they get an erection, they lose it. And this could be for a whole variety of reasons. It could be due to performance anxiety. It could be due to distraction. It could be due to things that guys don't like to talk about with their especially their female partners, which is, I'm bored. We've been married 15 years, making love in the same position. That you like doesn't work for me. Or the back of their head, you've had 3 babies and you're 55 years old. I don't get any friction in this position. Now, no guy's going to tell his wife ever, hey, your pussy's loose. I don't recommend any guy be honest. We talk a lot about communication.
That's a difficult conversation to have. That's a hard one to come back from.
Right. There's certain things you don't want to be honest about. Maybe if you have a special wife, you can. I can with my wife, but I don't recommend it to most guys. And so, or it could be to diabetes, hypertension, medications. We doctors stupidly prescribe a lot of, I call them cock-killing medications, antidepressants. You think about it. You got a guy who's depressed, and then you give him a drug that's going to kill his dick. I never. Well, the insensitivity of that has always boggled my mind. And then antihypertensives. And in your community of veterans, often men have multiple problems. They are pre-diabetic. They're overweight. They're taking antihypertensives, they're taking antidepressants, and they're drinking. And so you have this combination of factors that are killing their dick. But they get an erection, and then they lose it. Now, every erection ends in blood leaving the penis. I call it venous leak syndrome. And a ring, an effective, comfortable ring, is a mechanical solution to that problem. Everyone gets venous leak. We are all on the road from erectile fitness to erectile dysfunction. And the one thing that we all get is venous leak, and we can't control it with an effective ring. And getting back to PD5 medications, Cialis, Tadalafil, Sildenafil, Viagra, they put more blood into the penis. But if your problem is you get an erection, you lose it. Yeah, putting more blood in the penis is nice. It'll keep you harder a bit longer. But you're losing the blood, and those drugs don't keep blood in the penis. A mechanical solution is more effective. So
that makes a lot of sense.
There's a doctor, this is going to be presented at the American Urology Association Congress this spring. There's a physician, Dr. Amy Perlman, did a study comparing our ring, the maximum performance ring, to 10 milligrams of Cialis, Tadalafil, the most commonly prescribed PD5 medication in the world. And it showed that our ring is just as effective. And why is that? Because most men have venous leak, and the pills don't help. So a cock ring, and there are other brands that I think are decent. There are Lassos. There's the Sling box balls. Ours, I think, is better because ours can be worn for more than 20, 30 minutes safely. But a ring is a mechanical solution to venous leak. If a man wants to rock harder, last longer, be confident, put a ring on it. Taking a pill is good too. Because taking a pill, I'll talk about my own personal experience. After climax, the ring will keep me hard for another 4 or 5 minutes, which is nice. I don't need to, I'm married many, many years. I don't need to keep on thrusting to please my wife, but it's a different mindset. I mean, Dave, you and I both know that in a successful marriage, the woman comes first and maybe third. Right? So but the mindset of a guy who has a sustained erection is very comfortably sustained erection after climax. It's very different than a guy who's just come, because the male mindset is come and done. Hey, I've had an orgasm. What's on? Who texted me while we're fucking, or what? I want a drink. I need a puff of pot. Let's go to sleep. As opposed to a guy who's still hard afterwards. It sustains the intimacy. I would say it makes the relationship more intimate and more romantic. So I'd recommend to guys, put a ring on it and take a pill, but put a ring on it is a better solution for most guys.
My new book, Harden to Fuck Up, was written as a guide for anybody that follows the podcast and wants to put together all the things that they've learned from amazing guests. It is Dallas Alexander approved. Tim Jensen from Grunt Style wrote the foreword. And if you want to lose weight, you want to get a grip of your health, your waistline, and your mental health this year, I strongly recommend going to Amazon and getting your ebook, audiobook, or paperback copy immediately. Would love to hear a review, and train hard, fight easy. Let's get back to the episode.
Well, I can attest, being a user of the tech ring, I'm a bit of a science nerd. I like getting data, and especially novel data, where I see how many boners I'm getting at night. That's in itself is cool, and never having, until I talked to you, the thought of having a cock ring. I'm like, so my buddies joked like, "Hey, are you still a cock ring salesman?" I'm like, "Yep, I made it, man. I made it." And honestly, out of all the things that I've ever had an affiliate deal with on the show, hands down, this ring is by far the most bought item on my show. And so there's obviously something going on here, because as soon as guys are aware, and I'd be curious to know if it's the wife or the girlfriend that's buying them, or the men themselves. But that ultimately brings us to the question, like, there's approximately 40% of men in their 40s that have erectile dysfunction. But in the veteran population, I know you work closely with the veteran population, I haven't been able to find actual data. If it's similar, is it more pronounced in the veteran? But you went over a few key factors, right? Like, post-traumatic stress, a traumatic brain injury, toxic exposure. Like, there's a whole list of co-factors that could be contributing to greater risks of ED. Is that something that you've noticed in the community, that there's just more ED in the veteran world?
Well, all of our data is anonymous, so I only know about our customers if they contact me, and I open up my calendar 5 to 7 hours a week, speak to people for nothing. I want to know why they're using my device so we can improve it, but I also want to know, I want to help people. I'm a doctor. And I would say about 20-30% of people who contact me are veterans. About 20% are veterans. But as far as getting real data, isn't from the VA. It's impossible.
Right.
But it's striking. I remember. I don't know if I showed you, but my oldest son, our oldest son, is a major in medical corps now. He like laughs at everyone. They're all taking prescribed PD5 medications, whether they need them or not, because and if a doctor's prescribed PD5 medication and not working up, thinking, does this guy, he's a vet and he's having trouble getting it up because he was in Afghanistan. If he's not thinking, does he have hypertension? Does he have diabetes? Does he have atherosclerosis? That doctor's actually not helping that person, because you don't want to mask a problem. It's one thing for a 25-year-old who has ED to go online and get pills. I don't have a problem with that. But in the veteran community is actually an aging community. It's not all young, it's not a bunch of 25-year-olds, as you know. It's an aging community now. For have guys who are 50, 60 years old who have other risk factors, diabetes, hypertension, things of that nature, or they're obese, to have to go online and get pills because they're embarrassed to get their situation worked up, or the doctors don't want to ask them the questions. That's a problem. And that's where the data is so valuable, Dave. As you've expressed too, I'm in good health, fortunately. But when I see, I check my data 4 or 5 times a month, just the way when I go to the gym, I check my blood pressure. When I see good data, it's a relief to me that I have 4 or 5 nocturnal erections per night. And if that number went down to 2 or 1, it would be alarmed that I'd do something about it.
Yeah. So I'd like to get into that. Why is that alarming then? Like, what is it that would spark you as a doctor to say, oh, well, hold on a sec, you just reduced your erections by 50%. What would be your next protocol on that? What would you do with an individual or a veteran that would be showing those symptoms?
That's a cardiovascular problem until proven otherwise. And a lot of doctors are ignorant about this. I didn't know about it before I got involved in this. I didn't understand that nocturnal erections are a leading indicator of man's cardiovascular health. Their firmness, their duration, and their number tell you about your cardiac health, also about the impact of medications and side effects of medications and other important things. So studies of men who have had heart attacks and stroke show that a man whose erections increased by 50% increases their risk of having a cardiovascular event, heart attack or stroke, by 50% over the next 2 or 3 years. So it might not be imminent, but it's a signal. Now, leading indicator in medicine, I can't emphasize enough. I know I said it on your show once before. Leading indicator in medicine is powerful. It means it's predictive. In medicine, we treat associations. High blood pressure is associated with heart attacks. My blood pressure goes from from systolic of 125 to 140. It's not really telling me. It's suggesting something might be wrong with my heart, but it's not telling me that. Where it's an association. If my erections went down from an average of 3+ per night to 1+ per night, that's predictive. I have a problem. I have a cardiovascular problem and or given medication side effect until proven otherwise. And men should take action. We've had men we have 2 men I'm aware of get cardiac catheterizations as a result of the data. We've had lots of men report to me how they've adjusted their medications. Their doctors have them on pills that are killing their dick. The penis needs blood at night. If you're not especially in men who are not sexually active, if you're going to whack off every day, and okay, well that's a way that's
counts. It counts.
Right.
Still a W.
Exactly, it counts. And I recommend it. If you're not with a partner, I recommend it. I think an orgasm a day keeps the doctor away. But that said, if your number of nocturnal erections goes down, it's important. It's significant. So to have men who are tracking their sugar and their blood pressure and not follow those other parameters, I'm confident. I'll put it this way: I'm confident that 2 or 3 years from now, the data we're generating, which you call the erectile fitness score, will become a standard for research and care in cardiovascular health and in urology.
Wow, that's huge. And are you noticing doctors taking this cause up? Are they starting to become more aware? Because
Slowly.
I mean, you're fighting a cultural taboo, right? That's not easy to do. Not everybody is as comfortable as you and me are talking about sex.
Yes.
I mean, like I said on earlier episodes, right? My background is teaching, and I used to teach high school boys sex ed. So for me, and I was in the infantry, so I don't really have any qualms about talking about this stuff. I know it makes my wife blush when she listens to the show. She's a lot more conservative than I am. But I mean, even if you don't want to talk about this out loud, it's still insanely important. So is it more of a North American thing that's preventing this from being a normal conversation, or these conversations happen elsewhere, just not
No,
here?
they're not. People want to pick on our culture. I think the only culture that's more open-minded than ours is Australia.
What?
I mean, the highest incidence of erectile dysfunction are in Asia, China, Japan, Korea, followed closely by the Persian Gulf because of Islam, undoubtedly, and the incidence of erectile dysfunction in Europe is just as high as the Europeans, just as uncomfortable, in my experience, as we are.
Really?
To my surprise. Here's part of the problem, though. And we want to say it's cultural, but it's also money. Money. I'm not going to shock you, Dave, but it's money. So imagine this.
Go on.
The average urologist spends 7 minutes speaking with a patient. If a patient goes to a urologist and says he has ED, 1 second. Hey guys, I'm on a quiet. Sorry about that, Dave.
No worries.
They spend 7 minutes, and they don't. And I've experienced it myself. I went to my local urologist to experience what ordinary people experience if they said they had sexual dysfunction. He asked me no questions. He gave me pills. Hey, come back. Hey, here's the yellow pill. Come back in 3 months. And I come back in 3 months. How's it going? I said, well, it's about the same. Oh, we'll just double the dose. And he also prescribed tea. I want to get to tea in a moment. He never asked me whether I can attain erection or can't sustain erection. He never asked me the circumstances under which I experience erectile dysfunction. Hey, you got a girlfriend? Hey, you drinking too much alcohol? Smoking too much pot? What are the pills you're taking? So he's working off an electronic health record, as are your doctors in Canada, as are doctors in most places in the world. If you go to a patient, they have when you go to a doctor for your annual physical, they got to ask you about your heart, your breathing, digestive system, urinating. They don't have to ask you about your sexual health, which is so important to men and women as well too. If they were compelled to ask a question, to check a box and get paid for that, it would happen. So one things I'm working on right now is trying to get to Epic, Cerner, and Allscripts, which are the largest electronic health records in the United States, second largest in Canada, and get them to put questions in there. We know that men who have regular sex are healthier, not just happier, but they're healthier. We know that men who have regular sex and cut their and the big study out in the United Kingdom showing that men who had sex twice a week could cut their risk of cardiovascular death by 50%. They're going to die anyway. But that's an enormous, every guy should take that study to his wife or his partner.
That's what I use. That's what I use in my marketing for your ring. I'm like, hey guys, it's twice a week. Take that to your wife right now. It's twice a week.
I joke, and the governor of Montana is a good friend of ours, and I profoundly respect him. And one of his major issues is keeping the family together, because we all know that in a family which is not divorced or separated, people are actually physically healthier, happier, and physically healthier, and it has a profound impact upon their children. If there's separation or divorce, the children suffer in terms of their education. They're more likely to be criminals. They're more likely to get involved with drugs and alcohol, et cetera. So there's international data showing that couples that have regular sex 2 or 3 times a week versus couples that have sex only a couple of times a month, their divorce rates, separation rates are half. So here's a measure. Hey, imagine if you're the Prime Minister of Canada or Donald Trump went on the air and said, "Look, here's a recommendation. I recommend that everyone in a committed relationship in this country have sex twice a week, and let's measure health. I'm confident this is going to help to reduce healthcare costs and improve education for kids. All these other benefits, and study that. And that program would cost nothing. No outlays of tax dollars. No hiring of administrators or bureaucrats.
The government would find a way. Here in Canada, they find a way. There'd be a bureaucrat assigned to it. They're like, oh, I don't know. I think we only got one in on that one. We didn't see the second one. Sorry.
Well, there could be a social credit score for it, of course.
Of course. And they'd use your ring as a way to test whether or not it's actually happening by the data.
Great idea.
Hey, it's a lobby for that in
Canada, Dave?
So I'll lobby. I'll get right on the phone. JT's out, unfortunately. He's a Montreal guy, but we'll work on it. Okay, so this is really interesting because these are these novel approaches to root cause issues, because that's something that the show here tries to identify, is that we have a culture of identifying symptoms and treating symptoms, but not getting to the root cause. And a root cause here, if you have ED, is the fact that cardiovascularly, you're probably not doing well. And then that brings up a whole bunch of solutions to poor cardiovascular fitness. And you mentioned them. I mean, like, we all know them. Don't smoke, don't drink, exercise, have sex with your wife, and essentially you're doing all right. Like that if you do those 4 things, sure, like there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on, but you can, if I understand correctly, like push the Grim Reaper away just based on those few protocols if you just practice them long term, and therefore you'd have a healthier, happier society as a whole with like zero intervention. It's just getting people to actually realize that and be motivated to do it is the reason why I have a job, and like the reason why you have a job. So I find that super interesting. And you mentioned testosterone. And before we get into the topic of testosterone, I'd like to just take a quick break and have a word with our sponsors.
Hey folks, as you may have seen, I just got back from a BJJ and healing retreat for veterans put on by David and Cordy from Becoming Ohm, a husband and wife team doing incredible work for veterans' mental health. But my involvement with them actually started before that. I've been working with them in their online coaching program for the last 3 months, and I'm already signed up for 3 more. What I love about this program is that it meets you right at where you're at. You don't have to fly to Mexico or go sit in the jungle to start healing. They help you make real changes in your day-to-day life while teaching you how to work with plant medicine in a safe, intentional, and grounded way. This isn't some weird hippie stuff, but like a legit way to improve your mental health. For me, it's helped me stay more present with my family and respond better in situations that used to set me off. They've worked with over 100 veterans, first responders, and civilians in the last couple of years. If you want to learn more, go follow them on Instagram at becoming.ohm and shoot them a message with the words "hard to kill." David will hook you up with all the info plus a special offer just for listeners of the podcast. Becoming Ohm has been a huge part of my journey, and I know that can help you too. Even if you've been let down by everything modern medicine or Veterans Affairs has to offer you so far.
Returning from my short sponsor break to restart the conversation around testosterone. That's why I have the relatively recent article from Task and Purpose. It came out in December of this year, 2024. Something that really sparked my interest was Congress demands answers on low testosterone issues among special operators. And I was just discussing this offline with Elliot. This is a really interesting development, but the point of having this up here is, why is it that we have the issue, first of all, in the veteran world, but how does it relate to sexual health? And so I'll put that question to you, Elliot. Like, how are we addressing the issue of erectile dysfunction and poor sexual health in conjunction with potentially low testosterone?
Sure. Well, one thing, what the headline says to me is, what's going on with the other military people? I mean, is this the expectation? Is there some expectation that guys who are acting like Rambo are going to have high testosterone? Because that's stupid. I mean, I like to know what's going on with hey, talk about low testosterone. I like to know what's going on with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's I mean, that Mark Miley kind of looks like he's got a lot of round boob stuff going on.
He's rotund. Yeah.
Anyway, testosterone is an issue that fascinates me, frankly, because when I got involved, just the way I wasn't thinking about nocturnal erections when I got involved in this 3 years ago, I wasn't thinking about testosterone either. I assume, I'm blessed with good health and fortunately can have sex every day, and I realize I'm getting older, but it wasn't an issue. That because I'm involved in this business, talking about it with friends, I realized it's kind of like every guy I know has making money over the age of 55 is taking testosterone, and they're not talking about it with each other, but they're taking it whether they actually need it or not. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try it. What are my expectations? So I spoke to my scientific advisory board, some other world-renowned urologists, and they said, well, you should have, maybe your nocturnal erections should last longer, and maybe you'll get a little bit harder, and maybe you'll get nocturnal erection because nocturnal erections are relatively independent of other variables. Partners, drugs, marijuana, other, it's not like sleeping with someone or even masturbating. So I started taking testosterone. My level, by the way, was in this article initially was in the low 300s, probably maybe average, although average for someone my age, and had no impact upon my sexual health. No change in my nocturnals, no difference in duration, firmness, number, etc.
Really?
But after 6 weeks, I started to note that there were changes in the gym. And that really interested me because I'm 70, I'm going to be 72 soon. I'm concerned about losing muscle mass at my age. I'm concerned about maybe maintaining my physical health. When it comes to subjective, to other factors like energy and sleep, well, those things are subjective. You can't be quantified, but you can quantify your muscle. So how do I quantify muscle? I measured my biceps and my pectoral muscle with tape measure at home. There's no fancy equipment to do this as a baseline, and I continue with my usual CrossFit routine. But I'm a guy, so I've got to do some bench presses, and I've got to do some curls. Of course, we got to do that. And
like, what else are you really going to do, right? Like, if you're going to spend any amount of time, it's curls for the girls. It's a no-brainer.
Hey, my wife's impressed. Well, she's impressed that her friends are impressed. That's it. It's like it's by the pool, and hey, it looks good, as opposed to the other. Anyway.
You never have to impress your lady. You have to impress her friends, because then she goes, "Oh wait, why are you looking at my man?" Yeah, that's it. That's psychology right there. Yeah.
So, and I'm not a big guy. I weigh like 155, 156 pounds. So, the numbers I'm going to put out there might not impress a lot of people. But I went from part of my routine, bench pressing 175, 3 sets, blah blah, to bench pressing 200.
Oh shit!
Over 10 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks, as a final set.
Shit.
And I went from curling. My curling routine was like 30, 35, 40, and then suddenly I'm doing 40. Now I do 40, 45, 50. Now I've actually backed up a bit. It's like I'm getting elbow pain. I'm old. My joints couldn't take it. But that was what, Dave. That was without pushing it. It wasn't like I was okay. I'm taking testosterone. I'm gonna work out hard. Right. So I still take it. Why wouldn't I? I'm 71 years old, and it's not covered by Medicare. And this is part of the problem that you probably mentioned in Canada. It's not covered by insurance. My doctor, I'm not going to tell his name, but he does what a lot of doctors do in the United States. They make up a diagnosis. The guy says I'm hypogonad, but that's bullshit. I probably shouldn't be saying this online, but it's bullshit. They do that so that the insurance covers it, and that pays for him, tells him to get paid for. So he then has brings me in every 3 months. You got to get a blood test, and then you get then he regulates my dose. But his goal for me is to keep me at 600. But he never asked me about anything. Right. How you feeling? Well, that's great. It doesn't ask about my dick. Doesn't ask about my strength. So there's a problem. So what we've now so one of the things that doctors are doing, and people are taking testosterone, they got to think about this. Doctors are chasing numbers, but you, as a person, man, doing this, you don't care about the number. Guys will brag, I'm out at 1,200. Well, I don't care. It's not about the number you've achieved. It's like some guy saying, my blood pressure is higher than your blood pressure. We don't brag about blood pressure. My sugar is higher than yours, Dave. Your sugar sucks.
My cholesterol is way better than yours. It's huge.
Yeah. It's not about the number. It's about the impact on two body systems. Muscle, objective, measure it. Dick, get a tech ring and measure it. It's not. So we've had talking to our customers. A lot of guys don't respond. So that's interesting as well too. Why is that? Well, the assumption is that because their testosterone receptors are different, they're just not going to respond. You can get them jacked up to 1,000, 1,200. They're not going to achieve the outcome that I've achieved with a much lower dose because their receptors are different, and we have no way of quantifying their receptors. So we don't know who's going to benefit, who's not going to benefit until we actually measure, start them at testosterone, and to pick. And again, I recommend picking 2 parameters: muscle strength and dick and nocturnal erections, and look and measure them. Some men just don't respond. It's frustrating for them too.
So in terms of receptors, are we talking about the receptors with the sex binding globule hormone? Is that what we're talking about?
That's a problem as well too. That's one of them, which was a lot of this. So another mistake that doctors make is that they just chase the total testosterone. This is true in Canada, by the way, and much of Europe as well too, because the serum, the free testosterone, the total testosterone, a lot of your testosterone is bound to a globulin in your blood. Maybe it's too technical, but it's bound. Your body just can't utilize it. It's the free testosterone that's really important. Medicare doesn't pay for free testosterone. Medicare pays for the total testosterone. Now, the total testosterone it does reflect your overall testosterone level, but not as accurately as a free testosterone. And so if you can afford it, in the United States, or in Canada too, find a lab or find a doctor who's going to get you a free testosterone level.
Right, because
total testosterone level.
Yeah, because if most of your testosterone is bound up, then you don't have access to it. That's a problem, right? So,
but by receptor, I meant something different by receptors. By receptors, I mean at the cellular level.
Right. Okay. So I didn't know that. So there's different receptors that genetically you will just be predisposed to not being able to. So it's the bioavailability is there, but you're not able to access it like let's say a guy that has quote unquote normal receptors could. So does that mean then it doesn't matter how high you jack up their free testosterone or their total testosterone, they just won't see the same final outcome, which is more muscle mass and better sex life?
So we have men in the United States who've heard about us, and we'll show your listeners that we've now documented 57,000 erections. We have dick data, biggest dick database in the world. We have men who have heard about us because of the research that we're doing, or because the doctors recommend it now, starting to recommend it. They get the tech ring before they start the testosterone therapy because they want to make it objective. They want just the way you would. Heck, why do I have blood pressure cuff on my desk here? Because I don't want to guess what my blood pressure is. I want to make it objective. I want to track it, objectively. Well, you can now do that with a tech ring. Although I did have one guy complain to me. Well, now I bought the tech ring. Now I understand why it's not working. But if I know why I spent all this money on testosterone, I spent $2,000 testosterone last year and a half. Anyway, so that's and actually, Dave, we're probably going to sell a package in the third quarter of this year to men saying, look, we're looking right now, as you're aware, for a preferred testosterone provider, someone we feel is producing a quality product. And we're speaking to both the nasal testosterone and a company that does injectable testosterone. And we want to be able to provide as a package to men. Here's a tech ring, and you use a tech ring to regulate or assess what's the right dose for you. Make it objective and make it personal. Because one of the mistakes that doctors make is we treat everyone as if they're one size fits all, and we're not. I mean, you earlier shared with me what your testosterone number was. I won't say what it is, but it was pretty much the same as mine. We're different ages, we take different medications, we're different physical health. Our response is going to be different as well too. And so, for a doctor to put you and me on the same dose is kind of stupid. Let's find out what your baseline is, both data and testosterone, baseline erectile fitness score, baseline muscle mass, and what your baseline testosterone, total free testosterone is, and then go from there. That's the intelligent way to proceed.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. And I've shared my my testosterone levels on the podcast before, so like I've been hovering around 300, and you just nailed it. You're almost 30 years older than me, with the same testosterone levels. And I know I've had these conversations with my doctor. He's not concerned at all, but I've told him, I'm like, look, yes, I go to the gym, I eat well, I sleep well, I have sex regularly, I do all the things that should get me to let's say at least a 600. Like, let's be conservative here, but it's not. And I've been doing all the right things, but I don't feel great either. But my sexual health is good. I can add muscle. So like symptomatically, it seems okay, but I just don't feel great. And so that tells me, because my energy levels is always low, I have to fight every day to just get out of bed and go. I'm thinking that it's probably one of the factors for me not feeling so great.
It could well be. There's one of our customers and the guy looks ripped. The guy could play a special forces operator in some Hollywood fantasy, what a special forces operator should look like. And his total testosterone was awesome, but didn't get free testosterone. His complaint to me was, he's like a lot of guys state, I've seen 3 doctors now. I don't have the energy that I had 10 years ago. He's probably about 50. I know the energy. I don't have the libido. I don't have the sex stamina that I did before. And if you saw even in this guy's really fucking ripped, and he's the type of guy who likes to. I'm certainly met guys like this. He likes to grab me by my bicep, and you think, "Fuck, come on, dude. What are we, high schoolers here?" Yes,
it's a power move. It's a power move.
A power move. Yeah. I suggest to him 2 things. 1, get a tech ring. 2, you need to get your free testosterone. His free testosterone was disaster. His total testosterone was like 75% higher than mine. His free testosterone was a fraction of mine. His issue is probably genetic. Now, his overnight data was okay. I mean, it was a little bit less than what I would expect, for a man his age, which was 2 plus. He should have been about 3 plus at his age, nocturnal erections. And my advice to him was, 1, your doctor says you don't need testosterone. You need testosterone. So he started taking it, and he's taking a really large dose, but he got his serum testosterone up to the low normal range, and he's happier. His wife is a lot happier too. He has a more positive attitude about sex. The duration of his nocturnals is up, not a lot, but about 15%. Part of it would just be psychological as well too. But the data was helpful with him in terms of directing what the right dose of testosterone is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. Once you find some relief, right? Especially when you know you're not firing on all cylinders. It's frustrating when you're told, no, you're good, by a professional, by a doctor. But I know myself better than any doctor. And, I take care of myself and I record things down. And so when it feels like I'm being gaslit into, no, you're fine, don't worry about it. I'm more concerned about that small blip on your cholesterol score. Let's pay attention to that instead. And I go, no, I'm okay. I just want to really make sure that my testosterone levels are good. And I do a test essentially to make sure that if I get it up, I feel better, then great. I know that was the issue. To be kind of dismissed out of hand, it is a bit frustrating. But I want to change topics here because you came out with a interesting device. And going back to your biohackers conference, we've just been talking about male sexual health here. You've come up with a device that is similar in nature to your tech ring for dudes, but now you've got something for the ladies. Can you get into that for a little bit?
Yeah, the device is called d&ck, and I've got prototype somewhere. Yeah, we want to measure the health of the clitoris which is right now an unknown. Women have nocturnal clitoral erections. They haven't been studied since Master Johnson. Think about that.
Honestly, I didn't know this. I didn't know this until like 3 days ago when I was like researching that talk of yours. I'm like, what? Females have nocturnal erections? What are you talking about?
And our assumption is it's going to be the same thing as in men. But there's a certain women might have more than men do. We have no idea. But the assumption is they're going to probably at least be as many as men do. So women, and then women who are diabetic or hypertension or morbid obesity or taking certain medications, they're going to get decreased clitoral blood flow and have decreased clitoral erections at night. And that measuring clitoral erections, but also measuring clitoral erections during sex, will be just as significant as it is for men. Women and their healthcare providers will be able to assess the impact of diseases, medications, alcohol, drug, et cetera, upon their sexual health. This is what it looks like. I intend to bring this out at least in a research tool by Q4 this year. If any of your listeners want to write me a check for $250,000, I can make this happen a lot faster. I've exhausted my spare capital on the mail device. There are 2 papers about utilizing this device. This is the form. This is a 3D printed form, but this will go inside the vagina. This part is behind the pubic symphysis. There'll be a pressure sensor here so we can measure PCG muscle contractions. But I'm more interested in the health of the clitoris. Muscle contractions, female muscle contractions, that's been studied. What hasn't been studied is the clitoris. So we will have sensors that will measure blood flow, pulse amplitude, and the clitoris as it gets aroused. It's also by the way, this is a damn good sex toy too. But the data is going to be great. So we call it the Clitique, where it's really. Right now I'm funding the R&D of it a little bit per month because that's all I can afford. So it will happen. Wow. It'll happen in 26 probably, unless I can get funding. It shocks me, by the way, that I can't get funding. It really truly does. And I don't understand why why other people aren't doing it. I don't understand why there's certain, I guess some you mentioned before, certain prudishness about investing.
Prudish and taboo. I mean, if I understand correctly, this is the first of its kind. Nothing
Correct.
exists in this field. So anytime you're the first of anything, people don't know what it is. They don't know what to think of it. And typically most people never want to be the first in any venture because it's too risky for them. So they'll just ignore it out of hand.
There's so much money in fertility for women, and now in menopause, or in looking at how about the impact of women's cycles upon their thinking and their emotions, etc. But a lot of the problems that between couples have to do with the health of the penis and the clitoris. So, often on the therapy side, where they don't think about medical problems, on the therapy side, it's all about communication, and you need to look into your past and what trauma you suffered in the past. But what if the problem is simply not getting blood flow to your clitoris or blood flow to your penis? And the answer is actually a lot simpler. For men, the answer is, I get a lot of complaints about my mother, but you know what? I've put a ring on it. My cock works just fine. So, women have vibrators, but they get old. They have diseases. They have some problems that are physical and can be addressed if we had more data, if we had more knowledge about what's really going on. So let's talk about testosterone in women.
Yeah.
So I believe that this will become a standard of care for women, all postmenopausal women, in 3 to 5 years. For most of my medical career, there's been this sort of struggle to get hormone replacement therapy for postmenopausal women. What about the risks of cancer, blah blah? And now it's estrogen creams, pills are a standard of care in Canada, the United States, in most of the world. It's unusual to find a woman who's postmenopausal who's not taking either pills or creams. But the other hormone missing is testosterone. So when women go through menopause, their ovaries stop producing testosterone, and that's what happened to men. I mean, men talk about the andropause, but the andropause is a slow decline in the production of testosterone. It's not this precipitous decline that women experience, both estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And in my limited experience prescribing testosterone to women, or talking to women, female gynecologists or urologists prescribing testosterone to women, It's a game changer. It is like it. Well, speaking married man to married man here, there's a big difference between a woman who wants it and a woman who, hey, I don't know. If I get into it, I'll get into it. Maybe I'll get into it. Maybe I won't get into it. But
if the mood strikes me,
if I get turned on, if you turn me on, I'll figure out what I really want tonight. As opposed to Dave, you look as hot to me now as you did 10 years ago. But can you walk in and out?
Go get your tech ring right now. Yeah, it's on.
Can you walk in and out of the shower again? Because that looks good.
Go do some push-ups for me. I like it when you do that. Go put it on those pair of pants that I really like. Dude, you still have your uniform? Throw that bad boy on. It's been in your closet for too long.
Bend over that desk. I mean, it's just a big difference in mindset, and it's really been interesting, both in my marriage to other women, about the impact of testosterone, even upon women in their 60s and 70s. So back to something that the people we talk about, again, the medical community sucks at getting at the psychosocial issues. They don't ask any questions. They're not going to ask you or me or any other guy pretty much, hey, how is your love life? And when is it good and when is it bad? And what makes it better? On the psychosocial side, it's like, well, let's do work. Let's communicate.
Yeah.
Let's open up.
Then all us guys roll our eyes. We're like, oh, I just want to get laid. If we got laid, this would be over. We all think the same thing. It's like, honey, like, honestly, if we just banged like 2 more times a week, we would be A-okay, because I'd feel connected. Like, and that's the thing. I've had this conversation a million times, right? Based on like needs and wants. And, for me, like, a need is sex. Like, it's not like I just want it. I need it, because if I don't get it, I don't have the same connection with my wife, because I have friends. We have a different relationship. I don't have sex with them. You know what I mean? Like, I have sex with my wife. That's the only woman I get to have sex with. I need to be able to connect, and she wants the connection, but it's like putting the dots together. It's like, this is how it works for me. And I will be listening. I'll be asking questions. I'll be a lot more attentive. Most guys are in that same boat. And, if you can get the hormones right, and then you can get the communication right, and you'd have like the actual like union, of the marriage. So speaking in biblical terms, like that's how, like you said, like, to bring it full circle, we can solve a lot of society's ills if we have more sex, because we will be more connected. The family won't break up. The kids will be better looked after. They'll grow up with a greater chance of being successful. And in 2 generations, hey, what'd you guys do? Hey, we just told everybody to bang more. Like, that's it. We had this cool device. We started having sex games. Like, we started seeing like who's having more sex, and like people just like went crazy with it. And we had like sweepstakes and all kinds of prizes. That was it.
Yeah, I think for many couples, gay and straight, committed couples, the answer is, on the male side, a ring, and on the female side, T. You can do lots of therapy, communicate, you can talk, but for talking to my customers, so many, I'm not talking about older men older than you, at least, you're like youth. So many older men they put a ring on it, and suddenly issues that they thought were insurmountable. I don't want to have sex with my wife because I'm going to lose my erection. Oh, I got a ring on it. That's totally different now. And she's happy too, because she's more confident. I'm more confident. And she no longer has to worry about, I'm going to lose it. All this awkwardness about people going to bed, the sort of fear that people get, the mutual anxiety, he's going to lose it. Or on the female side, look, I can't turn her on. So she's not into it. And so I think I'll go cheat on her. Or I think I'll go sleep with Pornhub tonight.
Yeah.
These things can be addressed with, not just necessarily with therapy. I don't want to totally diss therapy, but they can be addressed with rings and with hormone levels, addressing hormone levels.
It's fantastic. So, Elliot, what's next for the company, and what do you see in the future with sexual health and sexual health improvement for men and women?
Well, the next thing for the company, because we have 7 now papers that are set for publication, another 15 studies are either approved or underway. We want to become the standard for research and for care. I think doctors should not be prescribing PD-5 medications, shockwave therapy, Botox, testosterone without data that is objective, actionable, and most important, individual. Not one size fits all. Not I heard this anecdote, this is going to work, or I saw this celebrity online who's doing all these things and I'm going to do what that celebrity does. But as it's your data, as objective, actionable, personal. And I think we're going to accomplish that for men and for women. We, as a company, we will, I'm expecting that we will, by the end of this year, we will get full FDA approval. Right now, we're approved for safety, but we will be approved for efficacy, and that will allow us to eventually next year to get insurance coverage.
Wow.
Now, of course, David, in a fantasy world, the government of Canada will listen to this podcast, and they will come to me and say, fuck the U.S., man. We're the Canadian FDA, and this is gonna be great for Canada. We're gonna bring this into Canada. How can we help you financially? And by the way, that female device, great idea. Want some $250,000? What's that? It's nothing. Here's a check. That's not gonna happen, unfortunately. But
I got a direct line, Elliot. You never know. You never know. They'll never say never.
But I think that on the male side, there will be, over the next 2 years, there'll be a growing acceptance that, hey, you want to get their data, the way they get their blood pressure checked, or lipoproteins, they should get their data, and men should not see rings as a crush. They should see an enhancer, just the way women see vibrators as an enhancer of their sexual pleasure and their confidence. And then the same thing will happen to women. We are coming out with a version 2.0 of the tech ring that's going to have more data. We'll actually be able to, probably Q3 of this year, late Q3, we're going to be able to tell you the girth of your dick, flaccid and aroused, within a micromillimeter. So the device will be, right now we have a 110 hardness score. It'll be even more precise. We're also going to put an accelerometer into it, and that will allow us to gamify it. So,
this is what we were talking about last year. You're doing it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So we could be sending a notification to your wife. What's your wife's name?
That's Steph.
Steph. Hey, Steph. That's that rear entry for last month. It's getting kind of boring. Probably getting kind of boring for David. You got to mix it up because what we've seen is at least the problems in marriages. It's just there needs to be more variety, or it could be, hey, David, you're on the bottom all the time. You're not burning any calories. It's, you need to be more active when you're having sex.
Honestly, when I get this on my phone as part of my health data, this is going to be like next level. I can't wait.
Or you could be competing with your friends.
That's what we're talking about.
You could go into your gym and suddenly, instead of my zone, it's your score. Hey, Dave's here. Oh my God, look at Dave's fucking last week. Or Dave.
Is this guy putting it? Yeah. Is this guy putting it on an animal? Because this doesn't make any sense. This is insane data. Like, just the way I roll. It's like Orange Theory. Like, you have those screens, right? And you see everybody's like calorie expenditure. That would be insane. That alone, when you gamify something and make it fun, that's next level.
Who's
that's next
firmer,
level.
the Canadian Special Forces or the American?
Oh man, what a competition! What a competition!
Hockey team.
Now we're getting serious. This is going to, honestly, like the societal like ripples that this can have, just to like correct the path that we're on right now. Because at the end of the day, we're getting healthier because of this thing and having fun at the same time. I think you got a $1 billion industry right here. So please include me in the fun. I'll gladly be one of your first test subjects in the sport of Firmtech sex. Yeah, we'll start the team. We'll start the Canadian team right here. So Elliot, I really appreciate your time as per usual. Tons of insightful stuff here, and there's even more to go over. But I want to be respectful of your time, and I want to go enjoy my Friday too. Maybe I'll go hang out with the wife a little bit longer before the kids come home. You know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Get some Firmtech action going on. So folks, if you want to get a hold of Elliot and you want to get a tech ring, there's a link here in the description. And Elliot, what's the best way for folks to find out more about your company?
Sure. Go to myfirmtech.com, myfirmtch.com. Even if you don't buy a product, just join the email list and you will get updates about our research, not just about hey, we got a special going on, but you'll actually get valuable information about male sexual health and about our research.
Right on. That's amazing. So folks, make sure to go take care of your health. Dudes, take it seriously. Go get a ring, like Elliot says, put a ring on it. And I don't have a pun to end this one off on, so I'm just going to sign off as per usual. Train hard, fight easy. See you in the next one, guys. Peace.